Hey everybody, heartsy is here. Heartsy is here. I'm excited to be with you today. And I will tell you, you know, we're gonna have a lot of conversations and exciting discussions as we approach the launch of Heartsy on September 7th, 2026. We're less than 100 days away. But a lot of people ask when I tell them, they say, what do you do? Or what happened to hard work? And I have to go through the whole thing about hard work and say, hard work didn't go anywhere actually. Hard work is still foundational to all of what we do, and it's how we built and why we built Heartsy. But a lot of people then ask, where did Heartsy come from? Where did the idea come from? Where did it start? What was the impetus, right? And I always, used to think about that question because it could be a long-winded answer. But I decided, I had to think a little bit deeper about it and really put it into some greater perspective around how did Heartseed come here. And though hard work started around 12 years ago, actually 13 years ago now, there were things along the way that really influenced us to get to a place to where we decided to build a software application. And people also ask me like, Do you have software background?" I'm like, "Not really. No, I don't have a software background. I've been a part of some enterprise resource um, planning. I've been a part of some deployments of new systems and applications and all these things, but I'm not a software engineer. I'm not a developer. I don't have any technical background in the sense. But we got here on purpose. We arrived at this place on purpose. But I want to put it in three. I want to frame it in three ways. Heartsea became a reality through three avenues: opinions, choices, and decisions. Opinions, choices, and decisions. We all can be an advocate for all three in one sense or another. We all have opinions at some point. We can all make choices, and we definitely can all make decisions. And I will say to you, around 3 years ago, as we were working with a client partner of ours for a few years, and I've talked to them about this actually. I told this client partner this recently, that we were noticing some trends uh, based on our work with clients over a period of time, some consistencies with what was happening with our clients. We noticed that though they were able to receive the work that we were actually workshopping with them, that we were deploying for them, what have you, that they could receive it, they could integrate it in a sense into maybe some of their policies or standards. The gap was really about their ability to fully integrate hard work and our principles and standards and practices into their software, into their systems, their technical systems. And if you think about it, for a while, I never really put two and two together. We would go do workshops, we would do learning instruction, we would do on-site visits to teams, and it was all great work. But if your technical systems, your software applications that you use on a daily basis, say your HR system, your performance management system, your learning management system, all these systems that really dictate how people operate, work, are efficient, inefficient on that part, how you track performance, how you look at data. If those systems don't reflect love, then at some point, the work that you deploy or exhibit with your teams will fall short because the systems are directing you to do and act and work in a certain way. And so when, I was starting off in my career, and I would, look at the systems that we were using, and this is way before hard work. I would look at, we would say, whether it be, um, I don't want to call any systems out, but whether it be financial system or HR system or LMS or learning management system, everyone had an opinion, right? Everyone has an opinion. You get on the system, you work through the system, and you have an opinion like, it's okay, but it works, but you know, it does what it needs to do. I guess we'll just, we'll live with it, but my opinion is X. And most times, and I mean 99.9999% of the time, no one has a choice in the software that they're using as a employee. Like we don't choose that. And and so to that effect, you have an opinion. Uh, so I kept on having opinions because I wasn't choosing the software. Even if I had some input on, how we deployed it or, what was some of the functionality of it, it was still an opinion, and it was an opinion that I gave to someone else that was going to make the decision, or that was they were going to choose, and then somebody was going to make the decision. I was never that person in that regard. And so years would go by, and I would steadily see people have angst with systems, even some of the best systems, don't get me wrong. But as I drew closer to the framework and the principles of hard work, right, around 13 years ago, I looked at systems differently. I looked at the systems that I was using as an executive differently because what I was preaching and teaching in the workroom with our teammates and my colleagues was not reflective in the systems we were using. And it was quite noticeable. Systems that we were using had an objective to do a certain thing for us, to track data, to whether it was an LMS or a financial system or HR platform, it gave us information to do a certain thing to accomplish a certain objective. And that's okay. That's good. But it did not reflect, again, the principles and the philosophies around hard work. And so I noticed it, I understood it, and we would talk through that. How do you deploy a new way of thinking, a new way of leading, a new way of loving your team and the work that you do, the people that you serve? How do you do that when systems are not necessarily designed to align and to support that way of thinking, that way of leading? Well, we look at our policies and practices and standards and we try and rewrite them and we try and make that language really conducive to the workplace culture, the workplace environment that we want to create. And we still fell short. Why? Because the software that we will all would head back to, this, the performance software that we had to enter into all this information, the LMS that we would go in and learn all these elements of the workplace, still did not speak love. It didn't speak hard work. It didn't speak how do we live, love, and lead from the inside out. How do we care for our team so that they can really feel free to care and love themselves, such that then ultimately when they show up to work, they could then be locked in the workplace and give their best and do their best, because that would ultimately then benefit the entire team, the entire organization. How can they do all those things, right? If the software and the systems that we were using on a daily basis did not speak love. And so to that point, um, I still was thinking. I still had opinions, but I began to dig a little bit deeper. Even, when we upon some research, we found this definition of love in the workplace. Um, it's accumulation of the. This is the definition that we use now. The It's basically the accumulation or the I don't know if you use accumulation. I don't know if I like that word anymore. But basically, love is the accumulation of when your policies, your systems, and your actions create a safe work environment, right? It's it's those three elements that really create a workplace that employees can really feel seen, feel heard, not feel manipulated, not feel, stroking an ego, but literally feel seen and heard. Not that everything will go their way, not everything will be uh, what they want it to be, but that your voice is valued, that your policies, your systems, not just the systems by which you do work, but also the systems that you use, the technical systems that really support the work, right? And which you're talking about heartsy, and then the actions, right, that create a safe work environment. That spoke to me. And when I was conducting this research and I found this definition that was created by these two medical doctors about love in the workplace, because that's what many people ask, if not all people ask, what does love look like in the workplace? That's it. That's what love looks like in the workplace. And so I began to think a little bit deeper. And so a few years ago, uh, when we began to work with this particular client partner, I began to have the ability to make choices, right? We moved from opinions for years and years and years to a position to make choices. I had a selection. I could choose to go one direction or the other. I chose to go the direction of heart work. How do we deepen heart work? But through the construction and design of systems that speak heart work, that speak love, that literally allow for businesses to demonstrate what love looks like in a technical platform, a technical application. What would that look like? That started around 3 years ago. That's when we started choosing. Like, we don't have to just take what's built for us if it doesn't serve us anymore. And I know many people can get behind that. That goes about kind of to with anything in life, with anything you may be experiencing. Just because the restaurant is right there at the corner, it doesn't mean it's healthy food for you. Doesn't mean it serves you. It means it serves food, but it may not serve you anymore. And when I began to look around a little over 3 years ago to look at what are the systems that are out there, what are the technical systems and the software applications that are out there that serve us, that speak to us in a way that we're human, that we're centered as humans, that we're valued, that it doesn't discount the understanding that we're here to produce outcomes for our company because they give in exchange, they pay us and they give us benefits and hopefully they treat you well. And so there's a mutual benefit here. But what are the applications out there that actually center us as humans first and foremost, that take into account that there is a human person having a lived experience that is contributing to this overall company and its objectives and its ability to serve its customers or clients? What does that look like? And so, because of that, I couldn't find anything. I searched. And it's not that they're not good software applications out, but nothing spoke to loving people, to loving our teams, to centering humans first and foremost, because that is what we believe in. Those are our core values at Heartsy. That great, exceptional work comes from when you love people. That's what it's built from. It's birthed from loving the humans that you're asking to do this exceptional work. And I know what people say, I don't need to love you for you to do an exceptional job. And you don't. You don't need to love someone to do an exceptional job. People do exceptional work all the time that aren't loved in the workplace. But if you choose and make a decision that you want to censor the people that sacrifice and come to work and give their all for you and for your company and for you as a leader, if you want to make that decision to actually love them, to see them, that exceptional work now comes actually through the organic, the most natural, the most non-manipulative way in which it actually deposits something into that individual, into that human, as opposed to just transactionally have something occur. Now we are actually lifting a human, inspiring a human, empowering a human. And that is a choice that leads to a decision. And we will all be better for it. I firmly believe that there are people throughout the entire world that are doing great work in spite of not being treated and centered as humans in the workplace, not being cared for, not being seen or valued. That's what many of us do. We still do the great job because we have we value ourselves, we love ourselves. But what I'm suggesting and what we have created and what we want to create and build with you is that there's a pause that needs to happen. And that if we can begin to set aside manipulating ourselves through transactional experiences with humans and recognize that transactional leadership, there is a place for it, but centering humans, making the decision to center humans in a way that actually deposits into them with love, the ability to ensure that they increase so that ultimately they can increase everything around them. And that will include your business, your organization, your company, your teams. That's what Heartsy is about. Heartsy was ultimately then a decision that we decided to create the answer, to create the solution. Because at some point, we have to ask ourselves, what is going to be my most um, attractive competitive advantage? At some point, and I think it's happening right now as we see it in real time, humans will begin to say, I don't want to experience a place that takes me for granted, that solely looks at a transactional agreement between the two of us, because that can work for a short period of time until the person decides to find somewhere else to go. As technology advances, and we are advancing rapidly in the technological world, how we decide to create workplaces, starting from the systems, the software, the technologies, the policies, the standards, the practices, all of those things, how we design those, create those to center the people that we ask to do the lifting, the heavy lifting, the work that drives our businesses and our companies, that will it will depend on the The response of our employees or prospective employees will be dependent upon that design, those models that we create. It's really, really very simple, and it will be very difficult for many companies. I'll say this. Right now, every morning, there are people that wake up in the morning, go to their job, whether it's remote or in person, and they're making calculations right now. It happens every single moment, every single day. And I would say 99% of every single team, people are making calculations. They're calculating how they feel as opposed to, as it relates to how they will respond. Like, and it's almost like a pendulum. If you feel okay, your response typically is stay the course. But as you feel less okay, you begin to ask yourself, well, what should I do? Should I stay here? Should I look for another job? Should I just resign and go out on my own? Like, understand everyone's making calculations. And it's not to say that as leaders, as business owners, that we must wake up every day trying to manipulate our way into keeping our employees. Actually, that's more work. And that's the whole idea and concept behind creating heartsy. The work it the highest level of work is in the manipulation. The highest level of work is in the manipulation. The most natural level of work is in the love. Loving people is natural to us as humans, even if we are the most ornery, cranky, angry person. It doesn't matter. The most natural, organic way for us to show up as humans is through love. Manipulation takes work. Deceit takes work. Lying takes work. It's easy to tell the truth. It's easy to love. Even loving people that don't demonstrate that same type of respect or love back. Because love is not an opinion. It's not even a choice. Love is a decision. And as a leader, as a business owner, as a company owner, organizational leader, wherever your title may be, if you make the decision that you want to love people, that you want to love your team, then I promise you, Heartsy is going to be a platform that is going to give you a return on your investment 10x every single day and even more. Because this is a decision. It won't be for everyone right now, and that's okay. But I promise you, as a leader, when I began to shift from choosing to like certain people, choosing to care about certain people, and just making the decision to care and love for every human that is in my service. You hear what I said? Every human that's in my service because I serve my team. When I just made the decision, man, leadership became so much more fluid. It became so much more natural. There were still challenges, always will be, because we're dealing with people. But the stress, the angst, the overthinking, it all dissipated because love is a decision. And we make that decision to love because of, not in spite of, when we make the decision to love unconditionally. And unconditional doesn't mean I'm going to love you no matter what you do. Unconditional means I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to berate you. If it doesn't work, I'm going to love you regardless because that's my decision. We designed heartsy to allow for leaders to have safe spaces to work with their teams, to center their team members, so team members can have a space to learn, to share without manipulation, without retribution. Literally, we built and designed the software so that an employee can literally be vulnerable without a supervisor knowing which employee said what, or knowing which employee is trying to struggle through or figure out some things, because it's a platform that centers us. It's not a platform to manipulate us. It's not a platform to give answers to the supervisor so they can retaliate against. No, it's a platform that center us all. Because if we're really here making a decision to care and love for each other, then we're also here to ensure that that care and love translates into a successful business. Because a successful business means that we have a higher probability of all of us staying here and continuing to grow together. Even though there are no promises in business, this is an opportunity for us to give ourselves the best chance, the best opportunity, even if we all don't stay around. But while we were here, we were able to instill and invest into all the people that contribute every single day, the best of us, so we can get the best out of us for the best of the company, for the best of the business, for the best of the team, for the best of the people that come in every single day. That's what Heartsy is. That's where it was birthed from. So September 7th, 2026. I'm excited about what's to come. I'm excited about the learnings that are happening with our team. I'm excited about sharing more with you as we draw closer to the date. Check us out, heartsy.ai. Send us a email, shout us out. We are really, really excited that it's something that's been brewing for a long time, and you've been helping us with that. You've been sharing with us your disappointments and cares about what's happening in workplaces, and we've been listening. And because of that, we've been developing. We've been in the lab working, literally. And we're extremely excited. September 7th, 2026. Check in with us every day from here until the end, where we're dropping, again, discussions and tidbits about what Heartsy is, why it's important, how you can leverage it to really create a culture and a team workplace culture that really speaks to what you believe in as a leader. And if you believe as a leader that it's important that we care and love on our teams because it's important, period. And because of that care and love, we're going to get the best out of our teams, and the teams are going to get the best to us. It's a mutual beneficial relationship that's not manipulative, but centered and rooted in care and love. Heartsy's for you. And so we're excited about it. We welcome all. Can't wait to see you.